Oh, I think I
Oh,
got,
live stream.
yeah, that did it.
We are on.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Terrian from the Disability Digest. As they say, it's better late than never. Apologize for the technical difficulties and the delay. But Jam and I are here. Right,
Hi,
Jam?
guys. Thank you for
All right,
joining us today.
right. Hey, consistent with today's theme, we're going to talk about surviving. And ways in which you can get like financial assistance to survive while you're going through the disability approval process. Things that we've learned that you can do once you're approved and while you're going through the disability approval process. But listen, for today's event, this survival topic is not a journey that is solitary. It's something that we've learned most of this stuff from speaking with members like you, like what you've done to survive and take the edge off. So we look forward to hearing from you if you have some additional tips. It could be anything at all, like recently KDD member here shared with us about the crazy coupon lady and how she saved a bunch of money doing that. So that's what we have on tap for today. And then we're going to take some questions at the end, right? So you may be listening to this on a website or in a Facebook group or in a Facebook group run by Mr. Philip Price. If you're out there listening, Philip, good help to you. We look forward to having you back. Or on our YouTube channel, right? Okay.
Right.
So let's see. First off is, this is a question I want to ask. Is anybody familiar with or have they used the Leave Bank program? It's a program where you can either contribute to or receive like paid time off. So if you have, love to hear from you, how it worked for you, any details you can provide. We'd like to learn more about this program. And this is, certain companies have this. I believe it's government organizations primarily have this. So if you're in a government organization and you're listening to this or know somebody that is, maybe they can utilize this. But again, love to hear your feedback. Okay, so first thing is we're going to talk about some of the tips that we've collected that members have used to survive the wait to get their disability benefits approved, and then on to the next bucket of resources. And here at the Disability Digest, we have been working and helping people get their benefits approved since 2006, and we've spoke with thousands of people and still do so today. And we've learned, like, okay, what have you done? How did it work? And again, that's how we pass these things on. So if you're in the approval process or considering it, I think this is super relevant now because the wait time for a disability decision This is just a decision, folks. This doesn't mean your case is going to get approved. But the wait time from your first, from when you apply to when you're expected to get your first decision on the national average is 233 days. Shorter in some areas, definitely that, or longer in the states of like Florida and Texas. So understanding how to survive is key. The number one tip in this area is win your case quickly. And more specifically, a lot of people have the approach of like, I'd give it a shot, kind of half-ass it and put their application in the system. And this, folks, I just discourage you from doing it because, you know, you can get approved at the initial application stage. 36% is the national average. And if you have people that do this work with you or for you, then I expect if you ask what their percentage of approval is, it'll be higher than that. But here at the Disability Digest, we provide you with the tools to do it on your own so you can make sure that you've done the best you can do. So the reason why I say that is if you don't get approved or you have an opportunity to get approved at the initial application level, but you don't do the right things, that means that you're likely going to be on track for like 880 days to get into a court hearing. And so, whereas if you do your best to win early, you could get a 233-day decision. So that's the first. Next is group disability insurance, or that even could be private disability insurance. And this is something that if you're out of work and you're not working now, then it's too late. But if you are working, or especially if you know somebody that's working, having them get disability income insurance is a huge tool to help people survive the wait. And the reason for that is once you get your disability income in place, you get 60% of your traditional earnings is the average policy, which gives you some cash flow. So you can pay some basic bills, food, cars, get your health care taken care of so that when you go through the approval process, you're not like living off of savings or you don't have any money. So that's key. If you've got children or grandchildren out there that are in the working world, I'd put in your commercial on this to get insurance early, right? Next one is a few states still have state disability. The best program that I know of is in the state of California, where you have a bucket of money that you can use. It's on the state disability level. That could help you through this process until you get your disability benefits approved. So Rhode Island, New Jersey, New York, I haven't updated this in a while. So if you're in those other states, then check into it and see if they do have it. Another strategy that people have used is they've done deals on their back benefits. If your disability check is going to be $2,000 a month, for example, and you know that you're at least 10 months into the process and you'll likely be another 10, well, there's 20 months of back benefits that you would potentially get. That could be 20 times 2,000, which is a lot of money. So you could work out arrangements on that. I actually have worked with members that were representing here at the Disability Digest with their landlords and explained to them the math that is behind it. If they want to hang out with them, then they're going to have a tenant that'll have a solid income. And this is what they're expecting. So I know that even from my position, that works, and you could try to negotiate that on your own with a landlord. So that's another tip for you. SSI and Medicaid, if your income is below a certain threshold, commonly $1,500 a month or below, which if you're not working, it's probably, zero. and you don't have any assets, then you could be a candidate for Medicare, Medicaid, which in some instances will pay you a monthly cash allowance and your health care. It depends on the state and your need level. Okay, that's the next tip. Housing. People have done the Airbnb with their homes, rented out rooms, done creative things like that. That income, you know, could be helpful in helping you survive the wait. Bartering is another way. People have explained to me that they bartered for, you know, babysitting services. They've done gardening and grown vegetables. They've bartered for that. So anything that you can creatively barter with, that's actually not income technically that shows up. So that falls into a category that could help your case if you're trying to get approved, right? The last is working while qualifying. You can work while going through the approval process, but as we've discussed before, although the allowed amount is $1,400, and confirm this, Jam, $70, right?
70. You're right.
7, yes. Working and earning can open the conversation that, you know, maybe if you had a different job or better treatment or reasonable accommodations, that you could work full-time. So there's a delicate balance there about how much you can make and not jeopardize getting approved. The figure on the screen is outdated. It's a couple years ago, $1,220. That's not correct. So those are some tips for people that are going through the process. Again, if you have some tips to share, we would love to hear from you. I'm going to put this link in the chat for YouTube, and I don't know if you can chat with the groups, Jam, like the Facebook groups. You can? Okay.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so I'll put this link in our meeting chat so you can share that. Okay. Part 1 in the books. Part 2, this was shared with you in the invite, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. And if you look at the invite today and you scroll down, then you'll see a link to this. These are the top tips that we've collected that apply to anybody that is trying to survive. And you could be that you're approved, and Jam, I'll put this one in our chat as well. Could be that you're approved or not approved. And it would apply to all. So, and they're listed, I would say, in order of priority. There's some, you could argue that, you know, the value that they provide is in good order. So that's 211. You can call them, check out the website. They offer different services. There's resources that are not well known at the county level. Of course, there's different resources in different counties, but they could have buckets of money for housing or for treatment or different social services that you would be entitled to. One of the best, most reliable resources is number 3, Centers for Independent Living. I believe everybody should go and check out item 3. There's a detailed video about how to find your local center, and the services that they provide are on the left here. But from treatment to financial resources to you know, networking groups, even Meals on Wheels is managed by the Center for Independent Living. I expect most of you out there have cell phone and some type of internet service. And if you're paying retail for it, you should definitely check out item number 4, which will provide you with some rebates, some discounts, possibly even a new phone that you can use. Internet access and communication now is not viewed as a luxury, it's a necessity. So that's another one. So just a reminder, if you've got some additional resources or experience in using these, in a few moments, we're going to start to take your questions and comments. We'd love to hear from any of the 145 of you that are out there watching this on YouTube and other places. All right. Let's see, Department of Health and Human Services, another great resources, find help. And then the last thing I just want to pause on for a minute is your expectations and what to say when you are contacting these groups. You know, some people have the response like, oh, you know what? I tried that service. I called them, they didn't call me back. Well, I would set your expectations that you're not the only one using these services. They do provide value. Most of the people that work there, it would be safe to say that they are, you know, they're busy. I'll just put it that way. So being prepared, having a professional approach, and communicating with them will serve you well. We recently have done in these live events how to use AI, artificial intelligence, to craft letters for housing, for jobs, for other resources. I would strongly suggest that you use this approach so that you separate yourself and make yourself stand out, so that you are prepared and you're easier to work with. And that will help you get some attention to your situation. The last one, and a real good go-to, is using your local congressman. And this could be used to, like, there's a lot of people that are out there that have been waiting for decisions beyond the normal amount. You could contact your congressman for that. There's people that have been awarded and haven't been paid beyond the reasonable time. You could contact them for that. My personal situation that I just used Senator Sanders' office for is the IRS had our tax return wasn't refunded from 2020, right? And so it was an ongoing, like, well, this information is missing and this is that. And so, like, 4 months ago, I had Senator Sanders' office get involved, and it did take 4 months, but I've been working on this since like 2021. So they helped me get it resolved. So they're very, I mean, if you use them right and you're good at communicating, they're super effective. And the IRS is different than Social Security, yes, but they're also another very confusing government agency. So those are some of the highlights. Love to hear from people out there, see if we can pick up any other nuggets of information. And then also address some questions. So, Jam, what's it looking like? What's going on? You have some feedback?
Yeah, we have questions, but we can cater them later, right?
Repeat that, please. It wasn't clear to me.
We have questions, but we can cater them later.
Sure. Well, unless we have any survival tips, I want to address those if we do, or feedback on using these resources. We'll do those first, and then if there isn't any, we can take some questions.
Okay.
And while you're queuing up the questions, there's one that was in a Facebook group here that I did want to take a moment to address. And I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit. It was like, I was I was looking at my condition online and the list of conditions to be approved. And I found my condition and wanted to know if this means that I can get approved. That was a general gist of a long message. So this is confusing to people because there is a blue book list of conditions. It's also known as listings, Social Security listings. And this individual had a kidney condition. And there is a listing for a kidney condition. There's a listing for musculoskeletal, for pretty much everything. But having that condition doesn't mean that you're going to be approved because you have the condition. When you read through those details, like musculoskeletal, like somebody that has a back or a neck issue or both, having them is one thing, having them diagnosed and MRIs that show certain information is another. And then you need to have a limited range of mobility that's been tested and proven by a doctor. And those are some of the criteria to meet those. So point is that it's possible, but just don't have that false sense of security because it's listed. All right. All right, Jim. What do you have?
All right. First question, is there such thing as survivors benefits for SSDI?
Yes, there is.
All right. I'm having trouble getting a Disability Digest membership confirmation email.
Okay. Send an email, just reply to any of the emails if you were invited here. Oftentimes what happens is a membership has been confirmed, but people may have just missed it. But we can look into it for you and let you know. So just reply back to any of the emails that you've received from us. Thanks for letting us know.
All right. Okay. Greetings. I'm 62 and have been receiving SSDI benefits for approximately 3+ years.
Mhm.
When I turn 65, will I have to automatically start receiving my Social Security benefits in place of my SSDI?
Yes, but it's transparent. So the only thing that changes is your status on your payment will go from disability recipient to full retirement. Check amount will remain the same. Two other things. So you will no longer be subject to continuing disability reviews, and you will not be expected to adhere to the income earning limit that disability recipients have.
Right. From Tamila, hello, denied all the way to federal, first time applying. The ex-lawyer stated need to start a new case, bipolar 1, PTSD, and issues with right knee. Do you recommend anyone in Colorado?
Recommend anyone in Colorado? Well, I'll answer it this way. What I do recommend is that if you're starting from the beginning, especially, something went wrong. So I encourage you, if you're not a member, join us here, come in and get the Social Security Disability Approval course, understand what you need to prove, how to fill out the paperwork, all that stuff. When there's no charge for the membership, no charge for the course. Regarding individuals in Colorado, I mean, I know people all over the US, but I'm not going to name drop here, but I do want to say this. Is my preference, if it was my family member or somebody that was coming here, and you folks, okay, I'll consider you family, is to look for somebody that is good rather than somebody that is local. And the reason why I say that is Social Security, the exchange of information is done over the phone, mail, online. And so people can do this from anywhere. Even the hearings are done mostly by phone or by video, and that will continue. A few of them are done in person. So point is you can broaden your scope and look for people that are good and people that are going to provide a level of service in line with what works for you. Okay.
Okay. Next question. Hello.
I'm here.
Oh, from Vincent, I waited a year and got denied. Appeal is the next step. I missed the opportunity to do it right early, made mistakes. 800 days it is.
Well, it's the average. So I don't, how long did he say you waited?
A year, and he got denied.
Okay,
And he
so
wants to
that's
know.
365 days. Yeah. Yeah.
800 days.
So 800 days is like the average. If you look at 233 days for the first decision, which it was longer for you, now you've got to go through a reconsideration, which could take the same amount of time. And then there's the wait for hearing on top of that. So that's the number how I got into the 800s for you, unfortunately, because it was 365 on the first round. It could be even longer than that. But listen, I wouldn't discount or eliminate that you're not able to get approved at reconsideration, especially if there's something in your decision letter that gives an indication that something was wrong, like they missed requesting some medical records, or they didn't evaluate things properly, like maybe they missed the doctor's diagnosis that was severe and they view it to be moderate or something. So it can be done. And in our course, disability approval course, there is a specific section that shows you how to review your award letter, review your denial letter, what to look for, and if there's anything that is, you can spot how to communicate that back to Social Security. Of course, if you're using a representative, this is work that they would do for you, but you help you understand what needs to be done and that you could check it.
Okay. From Perry, I am in reconsideration phase of the process. I'm using Disability Digest to represent me. 450 days total with my reconsideration being filed in August 12, 23. I am very pleased with my communication with Carol and Philip. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Perry.
Look forward to seeing that approval letter come in for you. Yeah.
All right. So here's a follow-up from Perry. Will SSA pay more than 12 months of back pay if approved? And that's a common question.
Well, I could answer that question, yes, but they'll only go back 12 months from when you applied. So, for example, if you've been out of work for 2 years and you apply, you only can go back 12 months, right? But let's continue to go on with that. So if you go back 12 months and you've been out of work for 2 years, but it's going to take you 2 years to get approved, that's another 24 months. So then you'd have a total of 36 months of back pay. So 12 months back, but every month going forward. Yep. We had somebody the other day, there was an I think it was $82,000 back benefit check. I mean, it's good and bad when you see those. It means they had to wait a long time, but it is quite a chunk of change.
Follow up from Vincent, is it possible to come back from denial after making mistakes in initial process due to ignorance? What is the key to getting approved with mental health as the basis?
Yeah, I mean, mistakes happen. The key is don't start over. This is my opinion, because you sacrifice anything that is put into your case. And I'll give you one example. Any medical evidence from going to the doctors, there's got to be some valid evidence in there. So you would eliminate all of that if you started over again. So to pick up the pieces and move forward is to look at what you have for medical evidence and then tell the story correctly. I mean, it might sound really simple. There's more to analyzing it and doing it, but that's what needs to be done. So again, don't start over. That's expensive and not necessary.
Mhm. Here's an interesting statement from Andrea. This new COVID is worse than 2020. I hope there's another lockdown. This infection is no joke. Um, Stay safe, everyone. I still wear my face mask when I go outside.
Interesting. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing. You know, I have started to see people like wear their masks again here. We're a bit isolated in Vermont. I don't know if isolated, if there is such a thing as being isolated, but usually one of the last to react, but I see that. Good tip.
I need help. A lawyer that will file appeal on a federal level. Where do I find one?
Yeah, that's super specialized work. There's two people that I know of that do that work. I would just, if you want to reply, I don't want to inundate them, so I'm not going to give their name a shout here. But if you're a member at the Disability Digest, hopefully you are, just take that question and reply to an email that invited you here, or any of the emails, and we'll help you out.
All right. Jim Shore, do you know of any SSDI or Medicare services that supply wheelchair or mobility scooter products?
No, I mean, those are durable goods that are like covered the same pretty much in any Medicare plan, Medicare Advantage plan. You know what though? Listen, the resources that I covered in this program earlier, like some of the county resources and local adaptive agencies, I would do some research there and see if there's any like funding for you. Yep. Yep. Definitely do that.
Right. For Maurice, my wife was approved recently after 7 years.
Oh boy.
Her approval letter said that the judge didn't agree with her attorney's fees. I wish I had the letter. Why would a judge disagree with the attorney fee in the approval letter?
I've seen this happen um, too much actually. You can authorize all of the proper paperwork and have it submitted, and it's up to the judge's discretion if they want to approve the fee or not. It's crazy, but usually you can get around it. And I say usually, like it's 99% of the time in my experience, where your attorney will have to write a fee petition, is the language that they use. And if you want to really help them out, then you would just include, a statement from yourself. My name is this, and I was represented from this time to this time. They helped me get approved. I fully endorse the fee being paid as soon as possible. That would really help your attorney out. Statement like that. So.
All right. Here's some information that might help others from Lisa. In my state, there are new work requirements to get SNAP up to age 50 to 54 years old, unless you are activity receiving disability.
All right. What state is that?
Mhm. Shouldn't state,
Hmm.
shouldn't indicate. Um, what are your chances if you have stress urinary incontinence?
Chances of approval, I presume.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. There's not enough information for me to speak intelligently on that. There's several variables in getting approved for disability, like your age. What are your limitations from that? I mean, does it require toileting once an hour, 3 times an hour, 5 times an hour? How long do you have to toilet for? So there's a lot of variables. It's just, I would need to know more for me to give you an answer on that.
Okay. Here's one from Afi. Hi, Afi. Regarding ABLE account. For my
Yeah.
state, I need to fill out a paper that asks what my approval diagnosis is. I had a list of diagnoses, so I don't know what my primary approval was. How do I find that out?
Well, that's a really good question because if you get approved at the initial application or the reconsideration, Social Security doesn't report on the conditions. So because that isn't documented, you could dial it back to what is it you were treated at that time. This is my thought process on addressing it because you have no other information. So I'll come back to that in a minute. The other, for those that have gone to a hearing and been approved, in your decision letter, there's a detailed, evaluation of what it was that they looked at and what conditions you had. So if you go back to the those that have been approved at initial reconsideration, and you're looking at what you're treated for, knowing the ABLE account, there's an age trigger, like you need to be treated for a condition prior to a certain age. I'm trying to remember what that was. If you know what it is, that would be great. But I mean, my thought is I'd look for a condition that you were treated for before that age cutoff and make sure that that's included in your ABLE account so that you qualify. I don't know, might get in trouble for that, but that's how I would do it. You're telling the truth, you were treated for that condition, it impacts your ability to work, so yeah, go for it.
All right. My denial letter was very vague. Is there a way to see the details they're looking for? At It's so broad on the letter.
They're generic. I agree with you. They're gonna say something like, we've reviewed your condition, we understand you have X, Y, and Z. We don't believe it's severe enough, and you can do some type of work.
All right. I was deemed disabled in April of 22. I received my first check in March of 2023 for February. Shouldn't there be some back pay to be paid? Does applying for SSDI and SSI affect your back pay?
It does. And I don't know what your onset date of disability. If you look at your award letter, it'll have on the top line, it'll say you're entitled to disability benefits. So you can look at that. And if that date was like 2 years ago, then yeah, you're going to be due some money. But if that date was real recent, then no. So it's from your entitlement date every month forward that you would be eligible for a monthly check.
All right, here's a follow-up from AFI, approved by judge. My decision letter said nothing. I don't even know what I might get reviewed for 26, but next year 46.
46. 46?
Yeah, 46.
Oh, that's good. They changed it then.
Mhm.
Okay, so AP, there's two letters that you receive if you went to a hearing. One is your decision letter. That one, everyone that I've seen will have details. The second one that you receive is called the award letter. That will not have any condition information on it. So just make sure that you are, have looked at your decision letter.
Okay. From Brooke in Tennessee, if you've got a doctor that will write you a note saying you can't work, then you do not have to meet the work requirements for food stamp benefits. Luckily, I've got that, but I know that is hard to come by.
All right, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. That's all the questions
All right,
from our YouTube chat group.
okay. Any other stragglers out there in the last few minutes?
Let's see.
There is one that I do want to mention, is as we roll into next year. There's, last year there was a big COLA increase, 8.3%, and that took people's checks up. And as a result of that, there's people that were, let's say your check was $1,480. So their check increased, which was great, but because of that increase, it eliminated their ability to access some Medicaid resources. One common thing that happened is people that were getting their Medicare Part B paid for, it took that away. So their check went up a little bit, but they lost the Part B being paid for from the state. So as we roll into next year and getting ready, it's targeted to be like a 3, maybe 4% COLA increase. Just start to be aware if your check is in that $1,450, $60, $70 range, that will be an issue again. Okay. All right, we cover everything, Jim?
Yeah.
Yes. Listen, folks, I thank you for your participation. I hope that these survival tips were of some value. The links were put in the chat by Miss Jam. Thank you, Jam, for that. And your ongoing, most amazing help and assistance with these events. So, we thank all of you out there that took the time out of your day to listen. And if we haven't heard from you in a while, we encourage you to update your membership with us at thedisabilitydigest.com. And if you're new here, thank you, welcome. We definitely encourage you to join us. It's the best way that we can help you as a member. Jam has put a link in the chat there. You can sift through all the videos. Fantastic. We appreciate you doing that.